Hello everybody and welcome to another video in the Student Exemplar series. Today we're looking at a comparison of Tissue with one other poem. This student's chosen to compare it to Ozymandias. As we all know, Tissue is a pretty vague poem. It does sometimes seem to stand out from the rest of the anthology, so let's see how this student completed the analysis. Now, just to say, if you want your work featured in a video, email it to info@mrbruff.com. We can name you and give you all the glory, or you can remain anonymous. Today's student wanted to remain anonymous. Either way, if your work is featured in a video, I'll send you 2 free ebooks as a thank you. Tissue and Ozymandias similarly present the idea of power using different literary techniques. In these poems, power is presented in different forms: the ephemerality of human power, the power of light, and the power of nature. Both Tissue and Ozymandias portray human power as temporary. In Ozymandias, the statue is said to have a sneer of cold command, portraying the arrogance of the ruler, which is emphasized by a haughty tone. The harsh, alliterative k creates a sinister and demanding atmosphere, which influences a response of disdain from the reader towards the ruler. This is juxtaposed by the change in tone, boundless and bare. The alliteration of the plosive b creates a change in pace, emphasizing the power of nature and undermining human power. The mostly monosyllabic phrase lone and level sound stretch further slows down the pace, highlighting the isolation of the statue. Thus, Ozymandias portrays the inferior power of humanity by highlighting the superiority of natural power, suggesting that natural power is everlasting while human power is temporary. Okay, so there are a few things I want to talk about in this paragraph. Sometimes people ask me, how many quotations should I use in a paragraph? And I think this paragraph's a great example of how you need to use as many quotations as you need to make your point. So if you're making a simple point, one quotation will probably be enough to evidence it. But in this whole paragraph here, what the student's doing is saying, look, it starts with the arrogant, haughty tone of the alliterative k, so let me evidence that, but then that is contrasted with the plosive b, so let me show you that, and highlighted again through the monosyllabic phrase here. So of course, let me show you that. So there are 3 different quotations, but what they add up to cumulatively is this paragraph, which contains a very complex idea. So sometimes you've got a complex idea and one quotation wouldn't be enough. What you don't want to do, though, is have a simple idea and use lots of quotations. You basically need to evidence every point that you make, and here there are 3 different points. Now, what I like about this paragraph is the way that it's about the sound the words make. And I talked about this in last week's video, which had a similar paragraph, and that is thinking about the fact that poems are to be read aloud. So the sounds that are made when you read the words are useful to analyse, just like in a play as well. Similarly, Tissue portrays the ephemerality of human power in contrasting ways. Darker uses imagery to describe nature, a shift in the direction of the wind, showing the dominating power of nature and how it can easily destroy our society just by a shift. Alternatively, the wind could be a metaphor for culture, the power that culture has to fly our lives like paper kites. The simile compares human life to paper kites, emphasizing the futility of humanity. We are too easily influenced by the society around us. Darker shows that we are damaged by culture or by nature, which creates a sense of fragility. This ambiguity allows the reader to reflect on the poet's points while influencing them to include their own opinions. Therefore, Tissue presents the impermanence and futility of humanity through the roles that cultural and natural power play in our lives. Obviously, there's a lot that's good about this paragraph. One of the things that I really like about it is the continual reference back to the wording of the question about power. It's very easy, I think, with poetry above anything else, it is very easy to just write everything you know about a text. And that's not what these exams are about. These exams are about answering a question with relevant textual references, not just regurgitate everything you know about the poem. So a complex idea from this anonymous student, lots of ideas about metaphor, but always linking it back to power, which of course is what the question was about. And I like the alternative interpretation. You know, we don't always have to think that things are just have one meaning meaning, one message about the idea of the question. Here we have, well, it could mean this, it also could mean this, and that's absolutely fine. Remembering this is a comparison, we have language like similarly, and in the previous paragraph we had both of them do this, so really making it clear this is a comparison is another strength in this answer. Both poems use structure and form to present different ideas about power. Ozymandias has a strict form which progresses from a Petrarchan sonnet to a Shakespearean one. The change in tone is emphasized through the change in form, which symbolizes that although human power is destroyed, natural power remains constant. Shelley also utilizes caesura, nothing beside remains. This creates an irregular rhythm and allows the reader to reflect by creating a tone of finality. It also emphasizes that Ozymandias, Ramesses II, once had a prodigious empire, yet now there is nothing left, everything is boundless and bare. Therefore Shelley uses structural devices to present nature as violent and an everlasting force. Analysis now of the form, the changing form, the adapting form of the Ozymandias poem. In contrast to this, tissue uses other structural techniques. Enjambment is used to create an ongoing atmosphere, build again with brick or block, emphasizing the noun block, which could portray how human constructions block out the sunlight, but here the daylight breaks through. The harsh verb break emphasizes the power of nature and suggests that even when we try to hinder natural power, it will always break through. Alternatively, block could present the transience of humanity and how we are never truly free but are controlled by society. The use of enjambment transforms the poem into a stream of consciousness, as if only in this poem is the poet free to say what she believes. Furthermore, Darker utilizes caesura, maps too. By having a two-word sentence, Darker makes it seem abrupt, another thought added in, which emphasizes those words and allows the reader to contemplate them. Darker then proposes the idea of the sun shining through their borderlines, showing how nature demolishes ideas of human separation, which portrays natural power as one which can unite humanity. Darker is Pakistani and has experienced the effects of the partition of India, which may have acted as an inspiration for this poem. Thus, tissue uses structural features to present natural power as an overriding yet connecting force. So this is something that you often see in a student's work. Obviously, the end of the mock is coming, and there's the last paragraph, which is less eloquently expressed. It's more a kind of outburst of numerous ideas. Still very good ideas in here, but you have to sort of pick your way through it to work out what's going on. Probably my favourite bit is the analysis of the enjambment. I've never really thought about this, but does that then emphasize specific words when you look at where lines break and where they end, where the next one starts, the words there draw emphasis to that particular word, and that's brought nicely into an analysis where numerous lines of interpretation of the word block are thought through and analysed. So hopefully you found this video really useful. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you've done a bit of good work, please do email it in to info@mrbruff.com.